You, Dakshina. Nice seeing you.
Very, very
How
nice to see you, Akka. Thank you. I'm well.
how
How are
is
you?
I'm fine. How is your mother?
Yeah, fine. Absolutely fine.
You're
Looking
safe
looking forward
inside.
to your lecture. Yes?
Okay. You're all safe in Delhi.
Yes.
Lockdown.
Yes, absolutely locked down. My workshop starts at 10 o'clock after your lecture.
Oh, lovely, lovely. I'll sit and watch.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello,
Ma'am
ma'am.
has already joined actually.
Yeah,
Arjuni. I can see you. Usha ji, I can see
ma'am.
you.
Namaste.
No? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear both of you.
Okay.
My phone is here. But where is live? These guys are not here. The live session has not started here. I don't know whom to approach. Hello? Hello? Started? Okay. Okay. A very good morning to one and all. Series which has come with a plethora of activities which you all have witnessed and which you are going to witness. In today's interactive session, we are proud to have amongst us Dr. Padma Subramaniam, a world-renowned Bharatanatyam exponent. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Apart, apart from being an eminent performing artist, you are also an acclaimed academician and widely traveled researcher. You are also connected with various educational institutions and you are program director for courses in Bharatanatyam at Shastra University. Having said that, I call upon Sarjanija Hirani, a young and vivacious volunteer who is pursuing her PhD in Hindustani classical music, to take the proceedings further along with you, ma'am. Thank you so much. You are most welcome, ma'am.
Namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Usha, ma'am. Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste, Arjuni. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Yeah. So, talking about ma'am, like Padma ma'am is acclaimed as a rare combination of dancer, researcher, scholar, choreographer, singer, music composer, teacher, author, and an Indologist. She is the daughter of director K. Subramaniam, who was an internationally reputed film pioneer, freedom fighter, and a parental personality in the cultural field. She has a bachelor's degree in music, a master's in ethnomusicology, and her PhD thesis is on kernels of Indian dance and sculpture. She is the first to bridge the gap between the theory and the practice. Dr. Padma is also is the president of the Nrityodaya, the dance school founded by her father in 1942, managing trustee of the Bharat Ilango Foundation for Asian Culture, which is a pan-Asian research center on performing arts, managing trustee of director K. Subramaniam Memorial Trust, and the trustee of Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts. She has been connected with the few universities and is presently the program director in BFA and MFA, that is the distance learning courses in Bharatanatyam, and a PhD at Shastra University. She has received about 150 awards, national and international, which includes Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Sangeet Natak Academy Award, and Academy Ratna. from the President of India. She is the only classical dancer to receive the prestigious Fukuoka Asian Culture Award from Japan for her contribution to the development and harmony in Asia. She is the first performing artist to have been conferred the honorary fellowship by the Asiatic Society of Mumbai, founded in 1804, for her academic achievements. She is she is still a sought after active dancer touring in India and abroad. In December 2019, she convened the first national seminar on the Natya Shastra in Chennai for Central Sangeet Academy in collaboration with Kalakshetra Foundation Chennai and Bharata Elango Foundation for Asian Culture Chennai. Thank you, ma'am. It is very proud moment for us to have you here with us.
Very nice to meet all of you. My greetings to everybody who has come here, joined us at SPIC MACAY.
Yeah. Ma'am, talking about your life and talking about as an artist, who was the inspiration behind getting into this field?
Well, I would say both my parents because my father was a film personality. Um, he had even directed and produced silent movies. His
Okay.
centenary was already celebrated. Government of India brought out a stamp in his honor. He had
Okay.
introduced many great artists like Bharatanatyam M.S. Subbulakshmi was introduced in his film Seva Sadan. And my dad was a freedom fighter also. And not only that, he was the honorary state liaison officer for UNESCO. So
Oh,
all those influences are there with me. On one side, it's quite international influence. On the other side, my mother was a very orthodox Brahmin lady. She was a musician, a composer in Sanskrit and Tamil, but she never performed outside her puja room. Her
oh,
values were very different. But I belong to a very big joint family where we had a common kitchen for about 50 family members. So
oh.
I know what it is to share, to give and
Okay.
share. So this is my background. And my father started Nrutyodaya dance school as um, a non-commercial charitable organization, and many poor students were learning free. Though he was a
Okay.
film man, he thought dance was just becoming a stepping stone for joining films. He wanted the art to be preserved, so he started the school. And watching great dancers in the school, even from the time I was a baby, was a big influence on me.
So, ma'am, there must have been a routine. Like you were into your joint family, like you had a routine. So, what was your classes routine when you were learning? When you started the initial level of Bharatanatyam, starting like going to classes and riyas and all. What was the routine, ma'am, at the younger age?
When I was just 5 years, uh, um, Srimati Kausalya, who belonged to the first batch of students of our own Nrityodaya, she would come home and teach me. For
Okay.
about a couple of years, I was under her, but she would come to our house and she will teach me. I was a very indisciplined student because I could never look at her as a big guru, and I would go and sit on her lap and I would demand a
Oh,
chocolate. And she was like a elder sister to me. But later, I was put under the great Natya Kala Kesari Vadur Ramya Pillai. I used to go to his house and learn. From school, I'll go in the evening to his class, sit there and watch. And the training programs at that time was very different. It was not hourly basis like what we are doing now. Just a student enters the class for an hour, dances and goes away, doesn't even have time to watch the seniors. It was not like that. when I went to my guru's house, I used to sit and watch my seniors dancing. Great.
Okay.
I mean, my teacher used to take us to even see the legendary dancer Kamala, and E.V. Saroja was almost living in my guru's house. It was Gurukula Vasam for her. And watching all of them, many times, I would sit there, watch the classes, and come back home.
Oh,
So it was not as though every time I went there, I could get up and dance. But that osmosis, I think, is something which is very essential, which the present generation is missing. Looking at, the elders, the seniors, and when Guru is teaching somebody else, if you watch, you almost learnt it. That kind of environment is now missing.
yes. Yeah. So, like, we can learn many things by observing also. Like, see,
Exactly. That's why in my dance, Nrityodaya, we have observation classes. We make sure
okay.
that the juniors sit after they've finished. I mean, they'll have their classes according to the timetable, the period, and all that.
G.
But
G.
they will have to sit and watch the next senior class and then go. So we have such compromise. It was not like those days, but institutionalizing has its own advantages and
Yeah.
disadvantages. So this is how it is.
So, ma'am, when you are talking about your institution, Rityodaya, so what was the basic requirement that you wanted, like when you started the institutions, and like what was the need or how it was? Was it very much difficult, and how the people responded towards it, and what were the difficulties, and what were the things that you faced, and now what is the situation, and what are the things done by your institution?
Well, when my father started, I was not born. So I did not
Okay.
start the institution. He
Okay.
started it completely on charitable basis. And those days,
Okay.
1942, you can imagine, it was
Okay. Yeah.
pre-independence period. And he
Yeah.
was spending out of pocket completely.
Okay.
And this is a deathbed promise that my father took from me, that I would continue to give free tuition for the
Okay.
economically backward, which we are still doing. So
Okay.
these children, they get training for 10 years completely free. And
Oh, okay.
I'm still continuing on those charitable bases. This is a promise I gave my father. And
Great.
we have, of course, people who can afford to pay, do pay, but we are very still, I would say, we don't commercialize. We just pay because there is also another point of view which was discussed. Pay, you don't
Okay.
care for what you learn.
Exactly.
So this is something which was our experience. So another great, I would say, educationist of an international level, um, Dr. Malcolm Adisesha, who was Director General of UNESCO, he had a discussion with my father and said, just charge them 1 rupee,
Okay.
just 1 rupee. Just because that child gave 1 rupee, she will attend the class regularly.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
So, so this we balance somehow, but we are not charging the economically backward. Now, for instance, Mason's daughter,
Okay.
tribal's daughter,
Okay.
bus conductor's daughter, postman's daughter. These children come and they come in a uniform. They don't know who is paying, who is not paying. So there is no complex which is you know uh, coming between them. This is how we conduct the classes, and our Nrityodaya is now, as you yourself said, we are
Yes.
conducting Bharatanatyam classes on distance mode for Shastra University. It's more than 10 years since we have been doing this. We have started
Great.
the PhD program also has been started.
Great, ma'am. You are doing so much for the society and to preserve our Bharatanatyam. So, ma'am, when we talk about Bharatanatyam, like how could you explain to a newcomer the style of Padma Subramaniam ji, or is it you like you create your own dance? So, what?
BA degree at that time, uh,
Okay.
because I started teaching when I was 14 years old.
Mm,
I was just 14, and my father wanted me to teach a group of orphans free. And my father told me that the best danam, charity, is Vidya Danam, uh,
okay.
apart from Annadanam. When
Mm,
you feed them, it's the only danam, Annadanam, where somebody who receives would say, "Oh, it is enough. It is enough. I can't take more." Your stomach gets full. So Annadanam is number one, and next to it is Vidyadanam. So you give it to them, and I found even when I was 14, teaching was a great experience of learning. I would say my students have been also in some way my gurus, because each
oh,
time I teach, I gain experience.
wow.
Uh, and it's not like I don't believe in uh, uh, creating dancers in a conveyor belt. It's not a factory. It has to be a cultural institution. You must have you must have cultural values. You must have human values. And I have connection.
Exactly.
I would be knowing the parents uh, and all the teachers here have been trained by me. So I can't get a teacher from outside because the pedagogy that I have evolved is based on my research on Natya Shastra. We are talking
Okay.
about body training. Body training is easily the best when you follow Natya Shastra, because every major and minor limb in the body is analyzed in the Natya Shastra to be
Okay.
moved independently and collectively. So these movements are based on both aesthetic values and kinetic principles. So both are important. And Natya Shastra has given an Asian look to the whole basic grammar of performing arts. And this is what I have revived after a period of about 5, 6 centuries. Uh, it is like, I would say, in post independence India, all the regions, with the help of government and NGOs and the artists and the gurus and the rasikas, have revived the regional dance forms like Bharatanatyam from South India, or Kathak, or Manipuri, or Odissi, whatever it is, Mohiniyattam, all that. All these are regional or the path shown by Bharata. So in post-independence India, what I researched and revived for the
जी.
stage, that is looking at Bharata Muni had given for the entire Indian subcontinent called the Marga.
Okay.
So this is what I have revived, and this revival will be useful for any deshi, not only Bharatanatyam.
Okay.
It'll, it's like, at one point of time, at least just about 150 years ago, Sanskrit was the lingua franca. That
Okay.
was the binding language for the entire, not only Indian subcontinent, I would say Asia. How did the
Okay.
Chinese travelers come and go around the whole country? They learned
Mm.
Sanskrit in Brunei. There was a Sanskrit university. And
Okay.
they came and so Sanskrit was the lingua franca, and Sanskrit coexisted with all the rich Prakrits or the regional
Okay.
languages.
Okay.
And just like that, the Marga that I have revived had
Okay.
coexisted with all the Deshis. So
Okay.
what I have revived is something important for any style of dance. I would say, as Dr. Kapila Vatsan called it, neoclassical. All the
Okay.
all these present forms, she calls them neoclassical. I think it's a beautiful term. So for all these, there is a binding common grammar And that is
Okay.
the Natya Shastra. If you study Natya Shastra, you can do your Odissi better. You can do your Bharatanatyam better. You can do your Kathak better.
Yeah.
You, this is the link, fountainhead. This is the link. So this
Okay.
is what I teach. I had to change the name from Bharatanatyam to Bharatanatyam because
Yes.
when I started choreographing and including the products of my research in my actual dance, without my realizing, I didn't do it purposely.
Okay.
Without my own realizing, I had deviated from the norms of last 200 years of Bharatanatyam.
Okay.
It had included so many of the products of my research. So, what I call my dance today is Bharatanatyam. In
Ji.
one sentence, I can say Bharatanatyam is a combination of the Marga, that is Bharata's Natya Shastra, and the
Okay.
Deshi Bharatanatyam. It is
Okay.
possible like this to have Bharatanatyam in Odissi style, Bharatanatyam in Mohiniyattam style. If you take the Natya Shastra grammar into your own regional forms, your regional forms will be enriched. And one more thing is you don't have to turn towards the West for inspiration for creativity. There is so much in this. So this is
Bilkul.
what we do at Nrityodaya.
So thank you, ma'am, sharing us the difference between the what is Bharatanatyam and what is Bharatanatyam. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, including, I want to know, and like I want my the people who are watching this, I wanted to know the difference between the Karnas and Mudras.
Uh, the word mudra
Okay.
is wrongly used in the performing arts. Mudra actually
Oh,
means sign. It can
okay.
be stamping. You have the term mudra used traditionally in a different connotation. What has to be used is hasta, which means hand.
Okay.
Natya Shastra uses hasta, and even the Tamil epic Shilapadikaram uses only the Tamil translation of hasta, that is kai. Kai means hand.
Okay.
Mudra means something else.
Okay.
In fact, some 15 years ago, IGNCA had a very important national seminar on mudra. I
Okay.
also read a paper in that, and in that paper, I had brought the difference between mudra and hasta. Mudra is a tantric, it has a tantric connotation. It is
Oh,
used in the puja. It is
okay.
used in puja, and that would be something to communicate to your own self. Mudra is something which is an internal journey, and hasta is something which is meaning communicated to the onlooker. So there is a
Okay.
difference. At least now people should start using this correct term hasta and not mudra for what we perform for dance. So Hasta just means the hand gestures. You have single hand gestures, all of them are named. You have combined hand gestures. This gesture everybody knows. This
Hmm.
is called Anjali, but
Okay.
when this is done above the head, it is salutation to God, and in front of the forehead, in the midst of the
Yeah.
brows,
Okay.
it is salutation to the Guru,
Okay.
and Anjali from the region of the heart is salutation to the audience. So we
Wow.
have three different levels of this Anjali. And now Namaste has become a necessity,
Yes.
most hygienic way of greeting, and you don't have to shake hand, you're very safe. So
Yeah.
like this, there are gestures for, I would say, a whole language of gestures are there. And
Okay.
Karana, would mean a whole movement involving the whole body. The
Okay.
Karanas have been described in the 4th chapter of Natya Shastra. 108 movements are described. Until I came into the picture of research, Karanas were thought to be poses because they are carved in some of our very important temples, particularly in Tamil Nadu, in
Okay.
Brihadishwara temple, Tanjavur, belonging to early 11th century, in Kumbakonam, Sharanpani Swami temple, in Chidambaram Nataraja temple. So these are three very major temples to be mentioned. And the Karana sculptures are found in these temples, and they have been a delectable inspiration for the dancer and the gurus. So they were
Okay.
using those sculptures, copying them in their static form.
Okay.
There'll be a movement which is a contemporary in the sense, say, last 200 years old tradition of a movement. And at the end of that movement, they will just end it with one of those sculptural poses. This is what they were thinking. But when I
Okay.
started my research, I realized that the sculpture, each sculpture is like a photograph, still photograph of a moving dancer.
Okay.
When I move my hand, it goes from here and it goes there and it moves. Only one fraction of a second is registered in the photograph.
Okay.
How I moved,
Okay.
what is there in that photograph is just not that movement. It's part
Okay.
of a movement. And what is there in the sculpture is also part of a movement. This is what I discovered. So
Okay.
what precedes and what succeeds that
Okay.
particular position that the sculpture has was my research. So
Okay.
I started this work. Well, PhD. It was not my big ambition to have a tailpiece of PhD to my name. That was not the idea.
Okay.
It was thirst for knowledge. So it was
Okay.
just not 3 years PhD. With all that, I had to reconstruct each movement, make sure that I'm not misleading posterity, and then
Okay.
I would record it. So it took time, and each karana is a movement of the entire body.
Okay.
It involves movements of, I mean, from right from the head to toe. So it is
Oh.
just not hasta will mean just hand gesture, but karana from the root called krim, which means action. So
Oh.
108 such actions have been revived by me.
Wow. 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 Ma'am, I just wanted to ask you about the, like, you have done your research and this, like, so how it is related to the satara.
Okay. In Maharashtra,
Okay.
Satara is about 2 hours drive from Pune.
Okay.
Satara historically was the capital of Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Shivaji,
Okay.
and his spiritual guru Samartha Ramadas Samadhi is also there.
Okay.
And for 6 years, um, Kanchi Shankaracharya, Pujya Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamigal, the 68th Shankaracharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, lived
Oh.
for 100 years.
Oh.
He was the centenarian sage of last century. He was at a ripe age of 85. He was walking. He was walking all over Bharat, and he reached Satara, and he stayed there for 10 months. And at the behest of His Holiness, a new temple was built. It was called Uttara Chidambaram Nataraja Mandir. Uttara, of
Okay.
course, you all know in Hindi, it means north.
North,
Chidambaram
north.
Chidambaram is in Tamil Nadu. That's
Okay.
the most well-known temple for Nataraja Murthy.
Ji.
And you have to see to believe. It is flooded with dance sculptures. It's about
Wow.
36 acres. It's a
Oh,
very huge temple, beautiful temple with a very powerful Nataraja Murti there. And a northern Chidambaram temple was thought of by His Holiness, and it was built by one hotelier, Sri Shamanna, uh,
okay.
who wanted to do something before he died. He had uh, terminal cancer, and
Oh,
in his own land, it was built at I mean, behest of and blessing of His Holiness. And when I just received Padma Shri from Delhi, I went straight to Satara to place my Padma Shri at the feet of His Holiness, get his
wow, wow,
blessings. Because in my family, I would say we breathe His blessings. Every
wow.
breath of ours is nothing but a blessing of His Holiness. His Holiness was somebody who could, he was a Sarvagnya. Sarvagnya means more than an encyclopedia. I mean,
Okay, yeah. Who knows?
walking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And he had guided me in my research on Natya Shastra, M.S. Subbulakshmi for music, Dr. Raja Ramanna from atomic physics,
Wow.
Dr. T.N. Ramchandran for archaeology. There's not one subject for which the top
Yes.
person had not received his guidance and blessing. So when I went there with this, he said, we have started building, the foundation stone was laid yesterday. You design a new set of Karana sculptures for this temple.
Okay.
And I was asking if I should give the photographs of Tanjavur series, where
Okay.
it is all Shiva with four hands, or
Okay.
Kumbakonam temple sculptures, which are all Shiva with two hands, or
Okay.
Chidambaram temple, which are all Parvati Devi with two hands. So I was
Okay.
asking which set of 108 sculpture photos I should give it to the
Hmm.
sculptor. He said none of these, because you have already said that it's like a still photograph. Try to capture those parts of the movements which are not already recorded.
So this was,
And
ma'am, how did this connected the Sanskrit and the Bharatanatyam Shastra and the dance? This shows the Sanskrit, the combination and the connection of this Sanskrit text and Bharatanatyam and the dance.
well, I sat at the designing.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure, ma'am.
So I started designing them. It took 1.5 years for me to design the sculptures.
Wow.
The line drawings
Okay.
were perfectly done. And then I showed every line drawing to His Holiness. When I took the first 6 line drawings, he said,
Yeah.
have you been to Indonesia? I said, no. He said, go. Anyway, that Karana sculpture project took 12 years to complete.
Oh.
And after Mahaswami attained Mahasamadhi, I went to Indonesia on my way to Japan. And it was a miracle that I discovered 52 Karana sculptures in central Java.
Wow.
They're all in the form when I designed, but then all the 52 tallied with my design and my reconstruction of Karanas.
Wow.
Where is 9th century? Where is Java? Where am I sitting in Chennai? How did this happen? two, three things are very clearly understandable. Number one, Natya Shastra has been a common text for Asia, not only India. That's why they followed Natya Shastra and made the sculptures in Java.
Okay.
Number two, I was like, I mean, whatever I had reconstructed as movement and also as the design has been authentic. The Indonesian version gives me that authenticity because it is very authentic, my reconstruction. And
Okay.
third is more, I would say, more a spiritual experience. I have fortunately been blessed with that humility to understand that it is not my work, but I have been an instrument in the
Oh.
hands of His Holiness to bring this awareness in this century.
That's your greatness that you say this. Like you have been doing so good things to preserve the cultural things and to like that so that the new generation could see that, learn that, and get inspired through that. Ma'am, when we are talking about the Guru-Shishya Parampara, so whether it is music, whether it is podcasts, like in any of the sessions, like whether we take music, dramatics, dance, like it is said that it is a Guru Mukhi Vidya. Like you sit and you learn from the Guru by like eye to eye, and like you learn. So in the present scenario, like we are all suffering from coronas and all, how would this affect us? Like, is it possible to have the virtual education in the field of performing arts? And
I would never think that virtual reality can be reality.
yeah,
It can never equate to learning something directly uh, in the physical presence of the teacher and the taught. But if there is a situation like this, when it is 60 days since I stepped out of my gate
oh,
with lockdown, we are pushed to a corner, and you
yeah,
can't be completely away from your own shishyas, your own students, and they miss me also. I miss them. They
yeah,
miss
obviously,
me. It's both ways. So at least through the screen, I can see their faces. I can teach them something. So only very recently I started online classes.
okay, with no other option rather than
There's no
learning
other,
online. Yeah,
something is better than nothing. I
yeah,
don't think it is
exactly.
equal. In fact, I've been absolutely against students learning and copying from video. You
Yeah,
can never get the nuances of the art by looking at the video and learning. And
yeah,
even if it is a Skype class, it is impossible to correct the student the way in which you can do in a classroom. You
yes, yes,
can't
yes,
do this. So this is not equivalent. But as I
yes,
said, when there is no other go, this is the only way. But hopefully, with God's grace, if this devil of Corona is going to leave us, we are going to
yes,
finish with them.
yes, yes, yes.
These classes can be again
Okay,
revised,
okay,
in person when they come back to.
yes, great.
This is how you have to take.
Great, great. So, ma'am,
So,
we can at last we can tell that like it is like the guru in the front of you, and then you are learning. That is the only way. Like um, I mean, I don't know. Like I have listened about the things like you have to stay at the gurukuls, you have to be with the guru over there. You need to have the routines. Like then if he or she makes you learn, then you have to do. Then after then the gharanas and all the came into the situation. And like what do you feel like, what is right now present scenario? Like because when even if suppose I learn something new today, like if even I learn a rag today from my guru, I will just directly go to my home and I would listen the same rag of another different artist. So that would affect my singing. So is that we can tell that today's students or the today's Shishya does not have like they need to keep faith on their gurus, like because they are doing each and everything as अभी सुना और अभी उन्होंने घर पे जाके किसी और का सुन लिया, and like they are inspired by them, like oh they are singing so good, they are dancing so good, and I want to dance like them. So how it is, like how you deal with the things like?
Well, you have to face realities of life. It
Okay.
Gurukula was, I would say, ideal. It's
Yes.
ideal way. There is no doubt about that. To live with the Guru, to see the Guru 24 hours,
Yes.
not only learn the art form, whether music or dance, but the way of life, the art of living.
Okay.
That is very, very essential. For instance, a guru may get up very early in the morning, do his riyas, his puja, his meditation. All that influences the child.
Okay.
Why did Lord Krishna was sent to Sandipini? Why was Rama sent to Gurukula Vasam? Even the greatest of Avatara Purushas have been sent only to live with the Guru.
Okay.
Where that kind of holistic education you're not going to get in any college. It is not
Now,
going to happen. With the gurus living in different places, and you rightly said, you learn a raga from the guru, you go home and listen to the recording of some other guru.
yes.
You definitely, without any doubt, you will get influenced by the other way of singing also. The
Okay.
thing is, you cannot help it, you cannot avoid it, and you should not avoid it. That's what I feel. Because
Okay.
today there is what is called knowledge explosion. Those
Okay.
days, the guru from one place to another to go by bullock cart or by horse would take a long journey, and there was no mutual exposure at all. So the
Okay.
Karanas were all, growing. They were growing beautifully, but like blinker bound view,
Okay.
like what you have in Gharana, North India. We have the Vari and Paddhati for Bharatanatyam. Teacher would have concentrated on facial expression.
Ma'am, the voices are coming. Can you please, yeah, thank you.
Sarojini, can I come in now to speak to ma'am for a minute? Beautifully, that also asked the same question that in the end. It was a beautiful journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a few years ago, IIT Chennai, there also I
Yes,
gave my lecture demonstration.
that's
It has
right.
been always a great pleasure to be connected with SPIC MACAY, because I look at SPIC MACAY as a bridge between past and future, and the present is right there. So
Yeah.
it's a great contribution that SPIC MACAY has done, bringing generations together.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And we are really, really blessed to have you always. And you have been so supportive of this cause, and you have always supported us. Now, before we depart, I would like you to give out a message to the present day youth what would be your message in terms of art, culture, and preservation?
Um, I think art is something which has to be part of the life.
Exactly.
Art is something for your own inner spiritual satisfaction. You dance because you love it. Secondary is people also like it. If if there are rasikas who are going to enjoy your program, you're doubly blessed. But what I perform is something which I have to have Atmanubhava. It has to be soul satisfaction. And don't bother about what critics write, what people say, whether you danced well or not, whether your jewelry was good or bad. What is important is that you stick to one basic thing, that thought that I am Indian. I will be always Indian. Bharatiya is my life. And for anything absolutely highly creative, I can do from India with Indian art, to remember that every one of us is like part of a banyan tree. The banyan tree is spreading, but it is also
Yeah,
having very deep roots. And we should always remember that Bharat is our Mata, our our birthplace, our motherland is most important, and have that constant, um, psyche, that common psyche and common self-esteem. There must be that common self-esteem for anything that is Bharatiya.
yeah,
Do teach others.
yeah.
There may be good things from outside. Like Gandhiji said, I won't want to shut my windows, but I wouldn't
Hmm.
like my feet to be blown off. So
Yeah.
always remember, we as Bharatiya have enough that we have inherited to export. We can export. There's
Thank
so
you,
much that
ma'am.
we can do. All the best, and God
Thank
bless
you,
all
ma'am.
the youngsters.
So
Thank you,
beautifully
ma'am.
you have said, and the students, thousands and thousands of students from all over India and the world graced this occasion and enriched us with your knowledge about the art and art forms. Thank you, ma'am, so much for having been with us.
Thank you so much, and long live your SPIC MACAY work. It's very important.
Thank you.
And
Namaste.
Namaste, Tarjini. That was nice. Thank
Thank you.
you. All the best to
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Lots
Namaste,
of
ma'am.
pranam.
Yeah.
Namaskar. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you all to SPIC MACAY's Anubhav series, Day 3. After the interaction session with Vidushi Padma Subramanyam ji, we now move forward with the Bharatanatyam dance workshop. We have with us our Guru, Apurva Jayaraman ji. We welcome you, ma'am. We also have her student with us, Bhargavi. Welcome, Bhargavi.
Hello.
Apurva ji is one of the great artists of Bharatanatyam. Besides dancing, she has deep interests in astrophysics. She has traveled all over the world for the performances, talks, and workshops. Presently, she is under Junior Research Fellowship of Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Apurva ji has also conceptualized, convened, and presented in Chennai a successful academic conference on dance called Navdisha. Now, before we start, I would like to make an announcement for our participants. All the students have to mark their attendance via feedback form on their respective dashboards. And also, you can have the questions coming during the session, because we'll have question and answer session after the workshop or between the workshop. So thank you. Now I hand over the platform to our Guru.
Thank you very much, Anubhav. Good morning, everyone. Namaskaram. Welcome once again to this morning's workshop. Very, very happy to see all of you here again today. What a precious morning this must have been for all of you, having had the chance to listen to the legend Dr. Padma Subramaniam share her experiences. I think it's always so inspiring to hear her talk, and I'm sure all of us are like charged with that energy and that inspiration to move on into our session today. So welcome. I'm going to start today with a quick recap of whatever it is that we spoke yesterday, so that we can just take on forward from there. Okay. So yesterday, after speaking a little bit about a little bit about the history of Bharatanatyam, we spoke about what are the aesthetics that define the particular style, the classical style of Bharatanatyam itself, amongst the various other styles and forms in India, although all of them draw their source from the same spring, right? The spirit, the core of all these art forms come from the same place. And I'm sure, that would have been so much more evident and elucidated so much better from Paduka's talk, since the entire research is based in that context, in looking at the Natya Shastra, which has been the source and the spring for all of our things, in terms of codifying them. So we spoke a little bit about that, and then we started off by talking about the lower body and the upper body movements. And for the lower body main positions that we have in the lower body positions, we looked at 3 positions: Samapadam, Arai-Mandi, which is the half-sitting position, and Mudra, which is a full-seated position. 3 of these being the main positions from which we create any lower body movement or any footwork. Okay? And as far as the upper body is concerned, of course, we discussed that it's not just the use of the fingers and the hands, but the entire arms and their movement within the plane of the body. We discussed a bit about this. So what are the alphabets? So what are those sounds, those vowels that we first of all need to start from to understand any language? That was the Pada Vedas, right? The variations of the feet movement which give us some kind of a basis to start our constructing our words, which were the Adavus, right? And we were able to see the 6 variations of the Pada Bheda yesterday. And I'm going to remind you of all of them. Udghattita, Sama, Anshita, Kunchita, Agratara Sanchara, and Suchi Pada. Right? We did 6 variations of the Pada Bheda, and then we went on to see how these variations get implemented in the Adavu patterns or the putting together of small little word units. What are the rules for bringing these different variations of the feet together? So within this, we looked at the Tattadavu, which used the samam position of the foot, where the foot is placed on the floor in its entirety, and we lift up the leg and strike it on the floor so that we create a sound while the entire foot strikes the floor. So we started with Tattadavu. We did one Adavu variation using the Kunchita, the placement of the toe, Kunchita position in, also in Swastika or a crossed position with the other leg. We went on to some variations of the Natya Adavu, Natya meaning to plant the and in this case with the Anchita position. So planting the heel on the floor. So we did a few variations of the Natya which made use now of all the 3 Sama, Anchita and Kunchita pathways. Right? So this was basically what we saw with respect to the lower body positions. And today, let's go a little forward. We'll do a few more Adavas, put a few more ideas together when it comes to lower body movement. Okay, so are you all ready to start? I hope you are. As we did so yesterday, we have to commence our class with the Namaskara. So let's all get up, prepare ourselves, and start with the Namaskara together. Okay, join me in doing the Namaskara. So, first of all, we want to prepare ourselves by starting in the Samapada position. Take a few seconds of your time to align yourself, body and mind. So you want to push yourself against the ground, straighten your knees, and really feel taut. Feel like your body is extending towards the sky, and look straight forward with a samadrishti. So your entire body is in neutral position, calm, composed. Once we have this position ready, now we're going to take the hands into the Bharatanatyam, Hasta. Turn your feet around and your hips. Open your hips. Balance yourself in the center so that the weight is neither on the right nor on the left. And we're going to go into Aramandi position. From here, we strike the right leg and the left leg to start the Namaskar. Okay. Thalan, Kutta Katti, Kutta Katta, Inda, To, Te, Yat, Te, Ta, Te, Te, and bring it slowly down while you align your mind very sharp and to your audience. So now we're ready to start. So today we're going to, like I said, look at some more variations of the different angas or parts of the body. And of course, like the feet are paramount, right? They're the very, very basic sounds that we use in our language, the movement of the feet. What would be the next most important thing that we need to look at in Bharatanatyam? Like rightly somebody asked us yesterday about the use of the eyes, right? To talk about the use of the eyes, how do we use it in Bharatanatyam? Why is it important? Is it important? Absolutely. And if you remember, I had said it's absolutely paramount to Bharatanatyam that we learn to use our eyes and to use our eyes in the right and in the effective way, right? So now we have a shlokam, a very popular shlokam that is usually taught to all of us as children when we join a dance class, which is Yatho Hasta Tatho Drishti. Yatho Drishti Tatho Manaha. What does that first line mean? wherever your hasta, your hand goes, wherever the hand is, tatho drishti, that is where you look, that is where your vision is directed. Why? Because wherever my eye goes, wherever my vision is directed, there automatically my mind focuses on that direction. Right? The next line says, yatho drishti, tatho, yatho manas, tatho bhava. Wherever your mind travels, that is where you can place your display of emotion, or you can have a emotion associated with that. In the case of a Nritta position, it could be just the joy of that movement that you create or express. And wherever there is that emotion, you create the quality of rasa. What is that? Rasa is ultimately what your audience experiences. So if you are emoting or showing or feeling joy as you dance, your audience will automatically resonate with and experience that emotion, right? So it all starts with the use of the eyes. So today we're going to go into the variations of the eye movement and see what are the variations that have been prescribed for us, and how can we start from that and move on to implementing that as part of our dance movement. Okay, so let's start that together. So we can all do this seated down if need be. So you can just stay in front of your laptops or your phones and do this along with me. So I'm going to do it once so that you can watch, and then do it one more time so you can join me and do it with me. The first that we use is, of course, the absolute normal, neutral, eyes in the center, calm, which is called sama. Samadrishti. From here, we go to alokita. What is alokita? A complete rotation of the eye in a circular manner. Okay? Alokita. Then the third one is sachi. Sachi is a sideward glance to any one side. It could be your right side or it could be a left. Fourth is pralokita, which is a shuttling of the eye between the right and the left. Pralokita. Nimilite. Nimilite is a close. Avalokita, looking downwards. Okay, so what we've done here is, with our eyes, we have covered the entire range of possibilities in which we can look in the different directions of space. Okay, and of course, in the case of now, because we're only using our eyes, we're not going to employ the head all that much, but you will see going forward once again that as we add the head movements to it, you can create a lot more variations in how each of the eye movements look. Okay, shall we try doing the drishti, vedha together? So drishti means eyes, vedha are again the variations. Okay, so let's do that together with me. Sama, looking forward, neutral eyes. Try, it's not just in your eyes, but remember it is in your mana, it is in your mind. Calm down, try to keep an absolute neutral expression, a neutral emotion. That is sama. Alokita. Explore the extremities of the circle that you can. It can be to the right or it can be to the left. Pralokita becomes right, left, right, left. Takkar, dhimmi, takkar, chunnu, takkar, dhimmi, takkar, chunnu. A little faster, on to third speed. Right, left, right, left. Takkar, dhimmi, takkar, chunnu, takkar, dhimmi, takkar, chunnu, tak. Okay? Going on to nimilite. Nimilite is a closing of the eyes. we would use if we are showing a meditative position, something that is a lot more calmer and settled. Ullokita, looking up. And keep your head straight. So we don't want to lift that head now. This is only the exercises for the eyes. So we look up. Ullokita. Anuvrittecha. Up and down. So once again for Anuvritta, which is shuttling between up and down, we can do this in all three speeds and therefore utilize it differently with our different adavas. Okay, so let's try this once again with all the three speeds. We're going to start with the first. Okay. Thalam, utakka, thikku, takka, tadi, hinna, tom, ta, ka, ki, mi, ta, ka, cho, nu. Up and down. Up and down. Second speed. Last variation is looking down with the eyes. Once again, keeping the head and the neck straight and avalokita. Looking down. Okay, does everyone have that? Have all these variations? We'll revise it once again at some point of class today. But what we're going to do now is go on once again to our verbs, right? Our basic unit, adavas. We are going to learn some new adavas today and incorporate in them some of these eye movements to see how these Drishti Vedas feature along with the Pada Vedas and the Mandalas. So we have learned the Kunchita, right? These two are familiar with you because we did the adavas yesterday. But we also in these three variations of the Pada Veda, we can do construct what is called the tactamental sequence of adavas. Okay? And I'm going to show you the very first one that we can do, which goes in counts of 3. Okay? So we're doing 3 of them on right hand. So let's start it again together. Sama. Kunchita on left. Udgratita on left. One more time. Sama on right. Kunchita and if we were to commence this on the left side, it's the same thing, but you start Sama on the left, Kunchita, Udgratita, Sama on left, Kunchita on right. Okay? So, why don't we all try this together now? Okay, you notice that this was in counts of 3 and we also, of course, now you know, you're aware that we need a solikatte to go with it. So what is the solikatte we use for the first tactamental variation of 3 counts? It is ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Okay? So we're going to use this solikatte and now let's just simply try to do this as an adava, first, second and third speed. So I'm going to invite Bhargavi, my student, to demonstrate this so all of you can join her in doing this. Let's start. So first of all, once again, look forward, Samadrishti, and pull your Samapadam straight and up. Feel the calm in your body. Now slowly turn your legs outwards towards the side. Sit down in Aramandi. And we're going to do twice on the right side, twice on the left side. Kallam, kutakka, dhikku, takka, tadi, vinna, tom, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, left, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, on the right, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, second speed, ta, ki, ta, 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 ta. Did everyone get that? So now, what we're going to go on from here to is, there are more variations of the tactometer that we use. How many variations do we have? We have a total of 5 variations that we normally use. Why 5? Why not 4? Why not 6? Why not 10? these are the 5 basic units of rhythm that we derive from. So within our rhythmic structure, okay, in the South Indian classical forms, where the musical form that supports Bharatanatyam, right, or is the counterpart of Bharatanatyam, is the South Indian classical style of Carnatic music, right? It's a genre that is all the music that we use for Bharatanatyam is derived from. So within this structure, there is a definition of 5 very simple rhythmic patterns or rhythmic constructions, right, that form the basic units. And by making combinations of this, we can create much more intricate and exciting rhythmic patterns to the sound. So everything derives from this, okay? And these 5 numbers are what we're going to explore using the Tatimeta Adam. So we've started, of course, now with 3. And this count of 3 has a name, and it's called Tishra, okay? Tishra or Tishra, you can say it whichever way you want, and that is going to be the very first count. Now the next normal thing which we're all familiar with is the count of 4, isn't it? Even when we did our Thalam, Kutakka, Hikutakka, Tadhi, Chinna, Tom, it was 1, 2, 3, start. So we always have a leader going to be the second one. So let's see how we can build the Tattametis or the 4-count rhythmic structure, okay, which is what I'm going to show you next. Once again, position, and now we know what 3 is. We're going to add a slight twist to it, right? So we start with this lifting the toe and pressing the heel. When you bring up the heel while the toe is still attached, that's what we're doing. We're doing and then you just lift up the heel as much as you can without raising your Aramandi, without shifting your balance of the Aramandi. We're only raising by expanding from here and drop the heel with a good sound. Is we've done a good here and repeat the same thing we did on the left. And okay, so very simple. What are we doing? We're taking the Tishra, the Takita, and we're adding to it an extra Udhratita. Let's try that together. I'm going to show it to you on both the right and the left. Okay, it is Ka, Ka, Ki, Mi. Sama on right, Udhratita on right, Kunchita on left, Udhratita on left. So if we're starting this whole thing on the left, then we will start Sama on the right, Udhratita, sorry, on the left, Sama on the left, Udhratita on the left, Kunchita on right, and on the right again. Okay? Let's try that. How about we try the Takka, Ta, Ka, Dhi, Mi, Ta, Ka, Jo. Okay? So let's try this on both, doing it twice on the right, twice on the left. Okay? Come. Aramandi position. Feet turned out. Samadrishti. Look in front. Kutta. Ta. Jo. Nu. Ta. Ka. Di. Ni. Ta. Ka. Jo. Nu. Everything else now can become a combination of what we already have. Okay, so now that you've learned these 2, you've learned everything that you need to know. You just have to put these in combination together for us to derive the other 3. What are the other 3 rhythmic patterns that we have? The immediate next one we have is 5. Okay, we call this Handam, and it's 5 counts. So for 5 counts, what do we need to put together? I can take 3 and 2, okay? And 2 is not different from 4, right? It's just a multiple. It's a question of how quickly you are counting, in what pace you are counting. It is Tishra, okay? So for Khandam, we're going to do a combination of 2 and 3. And I'm going to now ask Bhargavi to show us this combination. What do we do in Khandam? We use now one Samatatta, okay, which all of you know what it is. single tattadabir, and we rest for a count. Okay, so we do ta, ka. The ka is going to be silent, and the first count is going to be where you strike your leg. After which, you just have to do the usual takita. That's it. That's something that we've already learned. Correct? So shall we try that? Bhargavi, can we do this together? Yes. Start again. We have only one tatte, right? Only one sama, and then we go on to takita on the same side, on the right side. Okay? Let's do that again. There is going to be a rhythmic count of 7, which clearly can be broken down into a 3 and a 4, right? So now you know everything that you need to know to do this. Nothing new. You just have to put a takita and a takadimi together. Okay, so can we try that? Let's do that. Once on the right and once on the left. Possibilities in which we can divide 9 for us. So 5 and 4, right? And we know both these counts. So basically we're going to start with the 4. Always start with the smaller number, which is just easy for us to manage. Okay? And then, so takadimi and takita. Shall we see that combination? Come. So all of you try it along with Bhargavi. Okay, because now you know both 4 and 5. So we're going to ta, ka, di, mi, ta, ka, ta, ki, ka, ta, ki. Clear? What did we go through? We went through the 5 different rhythmic patterns that we have in Bharatanatyam, the basic units of rhythm, attaching them onto 5 Tattametta Adabas, which represent those basic rhythmic units. Okay, so we've done 3, which is Tishram, 4, which is Chatushram, 5, which is Khandam, 7, which I'm going to show you like this so that we remember the unit separation. We've learned something about the rhythmic structure as well in Bharatanatyam. What we're going to do going forward is something interesting. Okay, we will go on to learn a very small song as we go to the later part of the session today. We're going to start learning a song. So you're already going to start employing all these ideas. So don't forget them. It's not to be left behind. We're going to start using them in the song. And at the same time, going forward in the workshop, we're going to try and see how we can play around with these numbers and play around with these combinations to create much more interesting and intricate rhythmic patterns. Okay, so I want you to hold on to these 5 rhythmic structures that we have created. Of course, like we did yesterday, we never dance Bharatanatyam with our hands only on our hips, right? The upper body needs to be employed. Without the movement of the hands, I cannot create any movement of the eyes, and then there is no attention of the audience at all. The audience is not going to be interested in what you're doing if your eyes are not going to be directing them towards the movement that you would like. So today what we're going to do is we're going to use hands, use hastas, and the common hasta that we tend to use for the Tattametta Adabir, okay, when we learn it as an Adabir, is the hasta which we call Tamara Chuda. Okay, this is how we place this hasta, and it is called the Tamara Chuda hasta, and it's usually placed over here, somewhere along the face, the jawline of the face. Okay, so not down here, not far away, but the finger pointing to the jawline of the face. This is going to be your position of the hasta, and we're going to use this standard position. So if you start the Tattametta on the right, you will use the right hand. If you start the Tattametta on the left, you will use the left hand. Okay? keeping this is simple enough, so we're not going to do any movement of this hasta. Hasta is fixed where it is, but what are we going to play with? We're going to play with the movement of the eyes. Okay, so let's go back to find what eye movement that we want to use for the very first one. So we have Tishram, Takkita, 3 beats. So I'm going to ask you now to try to do the Tishram with the Pralokita, which was the right and the left movement of the eyes. Okay, so we're going to do it like this. First, I'm going to show you only the eye movement before I do it with my legs. We're going to do ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, using my left leg, right? So it's kind of bringing attention to what is going on in the footwork and which foot is being used. Let's try this together. So now you know the feet. Let's get into the aromatic position. I'm going to then bring my thumb and hasta into the position. Ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. Okay, is that clear? So we are using the Pralokita eye movement, Drishti Vedha, along with the Tishra Tattamitta. Okay, so now we're going to try doing this in 3 speeds because it gets interesting, right? The moment you use your eyes, what happens? It is only natural that a smile comes up on your face as well. We can never be serious and use our eyes like that. The moment you use your eyes, because your mind comes into play and you begin to enjoy the movement that you're doing. So I want all of you to do this, showing me your most beautiful smiles, okay? And enjoying that movement of the eye from the right to the left. Shall we try that? Okay? So Bhargavi once more will do it so that all of you can follow with her. So we're going to do 3 speeds with the eye movement. Eye, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. Second speed. Ta, ki, ta, 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 ta, ki. Third speed. Ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta, 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 ta, ki. Nice. Very nice. Did you all enjoy doing that? The moment you bring in the eyes, the shape of the entire body comes through. So what do we do then for the next one? Remember what the next one was 4, and it is Chatushram. Chatushra Tattamitta. You remember what we did for the feet? It was just the addition of the extra Bhatitam on one of the sides. Okay? But let's make it a little interesting now. So we're going to employ one more hand. Okay? Not just the right hand, but we're going to bring in the left hand in a hasta already familiar. What was this hasta? This was Pataka. So we're going to keep the Pataka hasta in a straight, stretch your hand out, absolute straight line, creating, like you remember I told you, a 45-degree angle. So this is my horizontal, this is my vertical, and I create a 45-degree angle with that hand. So I am kind of slicing the space that is available to me here into half, right? So this is going to be my hand position, and I'm going to do the let me do the eye movement for you from close up first, and then we can do it with the feet. Okay? So now for Takkadimi, we're going to try and use the Alokitam movement. What was Alokitam? Alokitam was the full circle of the eye. So we're going to now employ the circle. What sense would it make if I do a Takkadimi full circle? How does it connect to my body? It has no connection, apparent connection with my body at all. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start the circle from the direction of my right hand, and I'm going to finish the circle in the direction of my left hand. So I'm not going to do an entire circle, but only a kind of like a 75% of the circle. So connecting therefore the two hands that I am presenting to the audience, right? So it becomes ta, ka, he, me, ta, ka, cho, mu, ta, ka, he, me, ta, ka, cho, mu. Okay, so attention going from one to the other hand. And what is interesting here again is, if you remember what I told you yesterday, we never look at our hand as such, like that. Because if I did this, then there is no connection between you who is watching me and me, right? So how do I look at my hand? When I look at a hand, I look through the tip of my fingers into the distance. So it creates the impression that I am looking at the hand. And I am, of course, looking at the hand without letting my vision be blocked by the presence of the hand. Does that make sense? So I will not look never at the hasta itself, thereby blocking my vision. The other thing that happens is also your eyelids will immediately come down, right? The moment I look at my hasta like this and stay, your eyelids are down, which means your eyes are not visible to your audience anymore. And once again, you lose contact with them, right? And your audience loses interest. So that's what we do. Let's just do the hands so that we get cho, nu, ta, ka, si, mi, ta, ka, cho, nu, kinds of movements between the different eye movement for khandam. So one thing that I want to tell you is, as far as the use of the eyes go, you don't have fixed patterns of this is how you should do the Tishram, this is how you should do the Chatushram. It is up to your own creativity, and you can use any distribution of eye variations, okay, that look nice, but like I said, that is not disconnected from your body. That's the only thing you want to pay attention to, right? You don't want to be looking somewhere else when your hands are doing something else. So there has to be coherence between what your hands are doing, what your feet are doing, and how your eye follows. But within that space, you can choose to do whatever you want. So this is not the only way in which Takadimi can be done, right? I can even do Takadimi with the Pralokita eye movement, right? Ta, ka, dhi, mi. Or I can do it with the second speed. Ta, ka, dhi, mi. Right? I can do it in any way that I want, so far as there is coherence between things. Okay? So let's try to do khandam. So we want to do khandam now with an interesting body variation as well, to see how we're going to also negotiate body direction while doing adam. Okay? So first of all, let's say we're going to come back to left hand on the hip, okay, and the right hand Tamara Chuta. But let's do ta, ka, ta, ki, ta, ta, ka, ta, ki, ta. So what is it that I'm using? In both cases, I'm using looking at one direction, which is tachi. When I do ta or I do ta, this is, we used Anapadma. You remember from yesterday, we spoke about Anapadma. So we're going to bring the Anapadma over the head, like as though framing the head, and convert it into a Tamara Chura in its place. Okay, so that's going to be a ta, which is the first two counts. So ta, and I'm going to look at the right side because that's where I finished my hand. But ta kita, I'm going to look at the opposite side. Okay, similarly on the left side, start with Anapadma somewhere near your left shoulder. Okay, so don't do not like that, keeping our shoulder straight. Circle the head, frame the head, bring it into Tamara Chura and look to the left side and the opposite side. Ta, ki, ta. we do that kick. And if you notice now, what is it that additionally that I'm doing? I'm also introducing a small bend of the body to make it even more complete by facing this side. Shall we see how that can be done? Okay. So what am I going to do? Instead of facing front, let's face the side, our right side. I'm facing my right side. Okay. Once again, I'm going to get into Paramandi from here. So when I take my right, okay, and we will turn around to the left side and start on the left, using the left side. Okay. How about we try that now? We will probably not do all 3 speeds because you need enough space to move in this Adavat, right? So what happens, you see that you're also creating movement because you are moving towards the back of the room. So let's only try the first speed first together. So all of you might want to start from closer to the front of the room, right? So that you have a little bit of space to move towards the back, and start by facing your right side. Ka, ta, ki, ta. Left and ta, ka, ta, ki. Okay? So you should be able to flip around and start your left side immediately. Shall we try that? Start again facing the right. Bhalang, kutta, dhikutta. Ki, ta, ta, ka, ki, ta. Nice. So that we have to strike the left side. The left leg is what I want to strike when I turn around. So you lift and turn. Right? So from here, I'm using my right leg to turn, but I've also lifted my left leg simultaneously so that balance and stability. So when you turn around, you want to make sure that your eye goes from that center to this side. Lift, turn, and stop. Okay? Turn and stop. That's your technique to do the turning. So can we do it one more time together? Ka. Khandam again. We're still in Khandam. Okay? Gardam, kuttak, hikuttak, dadin, hinda, tum, ta, ka, ka, ki, ta, ta, ka. For Mishra, what can we do? Let's do a different variation of our hand. So now we're going to introduce another Hasta for the other hand. Tamarachuda is standard for our Tattamit. Okay? And for the left hand, instead of keeping it on our hip, we're going to use the Dola Hasta. This. So Dola is a very nice, beautiful Hasta because it is I use my Shikara Hasta, any of these. There are 2 very important rules in how we use our hands. Okay? One is tightness within the fingers and the Hasta itself. So this is not Padaka. This is Padaka. Okay? All the muscles in your fingers, your palm are really flexed and held in place. That looks tight. Okay? So if I were to move someone comes here and applies pressure on my finger, it's not going to collapse like that. It has to push my hand up. They should not be able to push it up. Okay? If it is loose, now my hand is loose, that's what will happen. If I push it up, it does that. Okay? But I'm going to tighten it up in a way that, you see, I'm pushing this hand up, but the other hand is pushing down, resisting. So you know that your muscles all the way from here are holding up that Hasta very, very tight. Now the kind of feeling, right? And it gives you a very a rested position, a sense of a rested position. Okay? So now the contrast we're creating in our own bodies is right hand is going to be nice and strong. The Hasta of Tamarachuda is strong, elbow strong, all the muscles here. So similarly, if I try to push this up, you see, I'm resisting with the other hand. It's not going up like that. I'm resisting. Whereas the left hand is relaxed and breathing out. So you're creating now a cross dynamic between your right side and your left side. Okay, so we're going to do Mishram like this. And let's now see what is the eye movement we can employ over here. Okay, so 3 and 4, right? Takita takadimi, me, ta, ki, ta. So now I have changed the eye movement as slightly for the 3. Instead of doing a right left, what am I doing? I am going from the hand to side. Okay, so I've made small changes in my eye movement. I'm still using the Anubhav, but without finishing at my hand, I'm now finishing on the side. Okay, so I'm doing ta, ka, hi, mi. So I stop my eye over there. Ta is towards my right hand, in the direction of the right hand in the distance. Ki, ta. The same moment where I finished my takadimi. Okay, does that make sense? And now we will do this with the diagonal body position. To see how that changes, how we can use our eyes and where we are completing. So what changes about the eyes when you change your direction is that the way you interact with your audience is constantly changing, isn't it? So if I'm doing, for instance, ta, ki, ta, I know the audience is viewing me from the front, but I am showing off the 2 sides, being aware that I am looked at from the front. Yes, but the moment you turn profile completely, what you're doing is when you turn around, you are directly looking at the audience. I'm directly looking at you when I do this, right? Instead of, so we are both looking at each other in a very direct sense. Similarly, the diagonal also allows me to look. Once again now, you're creating a small play between looking away from the audience and looking towards them, right? So when I look from here, I'm looking away from them, right? I'm creating a certain mystery about this part of it. And then I go ta, ka, hi, mind that I am looking at the audience member, all of them who are crowded in that direction. Okay? Kadhimi, ka. Once again, it's a inward pull, which is a mystery away from the audience. Ki, ta. Audience once again. So you're creating a small play with the audience, rhythmic patterns. Yes. And the other little thing to notice here is takadimi and takita creates different kind of punctuation. So these 5 rhythmic cycles, the reason why we go through this or go through said in the Solikati, this is how it's done in my footwork. But as you go into the layers, you can find so much of fun in doing all of these rhythmic patterns. So what we've created once again is a relaxed takadimi. Okay, takadimi takes its time to arrive, right? Ta, ka, hi, mi. Takita is more quick and punctual. Ki, ta. I don't take that much time to arrive back at the audience for takita. I'm creating a quick inward movement, a quick outward. Similarly, ta, ka, hi, mi. Ta, ki, ta. Okay. So shall we try that now with our feet? It's getting a little more complex now, I know. But let's try maybe only the first speed for Mishra. Okay? Diagonals and 4 and 3 combination. I'm going to do it along with you, and I'm going to ask Bhargavi also to do it with us. Okay? So you can watch either her or me for it. So when we start. Again, start in Samapadam, eyes in front. But now we are going to face up. G, B, T, ta, T, B, ta, T, ta, 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 T, B, T. Okay? How is that? I know it's getting complex for the body if you're trying this for the first time, but if putting together feet and eyes are still a little difficult, you can focus on the eyes for the moment, and then we can bring them together in the following classes as we go along. Okay? And now we have the last one left, Sankirnam, after which we can take a little bit of a break. But let's finish Sankirnam because we're really going at it. Let's make sure we have completed the set of 5. Okay. What can we do slightly different for Sankirnam? Let's employ one more movement. Okay. We have not yet explored we'll come back to the Pataka Hasta outside, right, with this hand, and we do ta, ka, ki, mi, ta, ka, ta, ki, ta. So what am I doing? Takka, takita, same as before. Takka is samam. Takita is the first Tishram that we did, right? The Pralokita Drishti Vedha. And only for Takadimi, I'm introducing a change using an up to down movement instead of a side to side. Okay? So we're going to do, start from the top, look up. Ta, ka, di, ta, ka, ta, ki, ta. Now, nothing changes when we do the left side here because up to down is up to down, right? So it's only the hand that changes. Ta, ka, ki, mi, ta, ka, but left and right. That's the only change. Ta, ka, ki, mi, ta, and your eyes and your hands. For the moment, focus on your hands and your eyes. And as we go along in the next classes, you can bring both together. If you're able to attempt it, then that's it. We'll do both together. Okay? So let's start. Right hand in Damara Chura, left hand in Pataka. Aramandi position, looking straight. Thadam, Kutaka, Kutaka, Tadhi, To, Ka, Hi, Mi, Ta, Ka, Ta, Ki, Ta. Up, down, Hi, samam, and right, left side. Ta, ka, di, mi, samam. I think that was solid work that we have done now on the Pancha Jati or Pancha Nade, the 5 rhythmic possibilities or rhythmic units within Bharatanatyam. Okay. And we've done a lot in the first 1 hour because not only have we gone through the rhythmic cycles, but we've gone through the footwork, the Tattametta Adavu that is associated with it, as well as how we can utilize hand and eye variations. Okay, wonderful. I think that's a very nice moment for all of us to just take a little bit of a breather. Let's take 5 minutes, have some water, clear our minds and come back. And if you have any questions for me in the meantime, this would be a nice time for me to take any questions that you have. Okay, about what we've just done or about what we did yesterday or anything else on Bharatanatyam. That's fine as well. I'm going to request Alankita to share with us if there is any questions on the chat of the channel. Synchronity required in the body, right? For you to do such complex movements. But that is what we are attempting to train ourselves in any dance, not just Bharatanatyam. The complexity is different and there are different variations of each, which is very art form specific. But as dancers, we are training for 2 interesting things, right? One is to allow your body to have this possibility to be, like I told you yesterday, be extremely symmetric, which in itself is not a normal thing for the human body. For you to have your weight evenly distributed, for you to have lines, absolutely symmetric right and left, if it's an eye movement, anything to be able to look like mirror images on the right and left. This is one thing. The other unique thing that we train with, which is what we've seen today, is when you create a variation between the right and left, which are very, there's a counter dynamic over there, right? So one side is strong, the other side is soft, right? One side you look with a straight body, the other side you look with a bent movement. So you're creating also this ability for the body to mold itself and to do whatever it is that it so wishes. So we're really fine-tuning our instrument, which is the body, right? To be able to create eye separately, body separately, hand separately, helps you bring these things together in harmony, right? While really understanding how the body works. Let's see. Do we have any questions at this point of time? Perhaps not yet. So initially from a visual feedback, right? Initially, it starts simply by a teacher sitting in front of you and saying your right hand is lower than the left, or your right shoulder is front, your right shoulder is in the bottom. So all of these things are extremely normal, and that's how our bodies are made, depending upon each of us, right? Different parts of our body land up becoming stronger or weaker, once again, because of the way we use our body, right? Right from childhood, we get habits of leaning on one side or wearing our bags, school bags just on one side. So we are creating habits for ourselves that is making our body asymmetrical, which it is not intrinsically, right? Your bone structure, your muscle structure is not asymmetrical at all, but we are creating those habits for ourselves. So of course, simply the fact that we write with our right hand makes it much more finer, right? Our grasp in our right hand is much more finer than it would be on our left, or if you write with your left, the other way around. So what you're in fact retraining your body is to go back to its original state, which is supposed to be symmetric, but it requires a lot more training because we have to do a lot of unlearning of everything that we may have done through our lives, right? So initially it comes with visual feedback from a teacher. You can take a little bit of assistance from mirrors, only little bit. You cannot do that all the time, where you watch yourself in a mirror and you correct and you say, oh no, my right hand is up now, so I have to bring it down. Or my elbow is going down, so I have to bring it up. So I look at myself and I correct myself. These are all ways in which you begin. But the most important way is for you to create a training of understanding your body from within, right? So the body has a very, very interesting ability to do this, because if I place my hand on top of my head, let's say, okay, how do I know if I close my eyes, do I still know that my hand is on top of my head? Yes, I do know, right? It's not that just because I close my eyes, I say, oh my God, where is my hand? I don't even know where my hand is. No. The body has an ability to understand placement of our everything, our limbs, our feet, right? Our head position. Spatial understanding is actually a ability the body has. So the third stage, after your visual input from your teacher, visual input for your own self from a mirror, what you want to build is this ability to understand. So if I have my eyes closed and I take my Natya, what is that we're trying to create about the body? Okay. Do we have anything else? Let me quickly check. Oh yeah. So thing to be called a style or no. Like you can't put down a checklist and say, okay, XYZ, then this is called now a Bani, or this is called a Kharana, otherwise it's not called. There's no such thing. What becomes a Bani? What becomes a Kharana? Something that has created an identity for itself. It could be based on a particular usage of the body, perhaps implementation of a particular set of movements, perhaps. So many, many different little things can define what a gharana is, but it only starts being called a gharana or a bani or a style when it has propagated down at least a few generations, right? So the ability to be passed on from teacher to student and be preserved is a very important characteristic of a style. Okay, so now, the few popular styles that we are aware of today, definitely I'm not mentioning all of them, but the few. We know of the Vadur Bani, the Pandanallur Bani, both of these are things that were rooted in the Tanjavur region of Tamil Nadu. The Kalakshetra Bani, of course, which is something that was an off-stem of what came in from Tanjavur, but established itself with a new aesthetic and a new way of looking at dance, right? And a new training pedagogy and everything. But going forward, or we might be fusing styles going forward as well. Anything is possible. This is the dynamic, evolving game. Okay. The next question is, how do we get over hesitation or anxiety while performing anything? Okay, this is an interesting question. I think practice, I would say, is the only way, in the sense that I remember when I used to go on stage as a little girl, I would always hear of being in front of people and performing in front of stage. That having been said, even today, I have that anxiety before going on stage, right? It's not something that goes away. And I think it's a good thing, because if you're nervous and if you're anxious, you are also alert, right? Your brain then focuses its entire attention the best possible for that day. So anxiety within a collected amount can still be a good thing for you. Of course, you don't want to be so anxious or nervous that you're blanking out or you're forgetting everything. To bring it from that level to a neutral level, I just think it's a question of doing it over and over again and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. That's the one simple answer. The other thing is, forget about, I think it's important to remember why you dance or why you perform at the end of the day, right? Why do all of us ultimately dance? Because we love it. We just love going out there and moving with our body, using our hands, using our eyes. It's something we enjoy doing. So don't think of it as something you're doing for the person in front of you, because then you're thinking about, am I doing it correctly? Is the person judging me? Is everything proper? Am I looking fine? You're always going to think from the other person's point of view. If you think that you are dancing, right, like you're dancing in a holy festival or something like that, you are enjoying yourself. Go out there and dance for yourself. Forget that an audience exists and forget that you're dancing for an audience. Dance for yourself. Your anxiety and nervousness automatically comes under control. So hope this will help you. You should try it out and tell me if it works. Are Tanjavur and Vaduvur the same? This is actually a tricky question. I don't know whether I can confidently answer it, because all of these styles that we talk about, like even Vaduvur and Pandanallur, these are both strands which came from the Tanjavur belt. Okay, so there are no, like I said once again, there are no rules that tell us this is Tanjavur Bani, that is Vaduvur Bani or whatever. Roughly understood, whatever came out of the Tanjavur belt is something like a parent body, but from that there were very clear streams of Guru-Shishya Parampara that emerged, which became the Pandanallur Bani, became the Vaduvur Bani kind of a thing. So today, whether we can say Tanjavur and Vaduvur is synonymous, I am not quite sure about it. But let me have for the moment. So, and we've also taken like enough of a breather. So let's move on with class today, and we can come back to a set of questions maybe by the end of the session once again. Okay, good. So now that we're sitting, we're taking a break, why don't we come back to the Hastas like we did yesterday? I think that's also a nice refresher for the body. We've been moving with the body quite a bit right now. So yes, let's explore a few new Hastas. What are the Hastas we explored yesterday? We did Pataka, we did Tripataka, Katakamukha, and Alapatma. These were 4 Hastas we looked at, and we looked not only at how can we use these Hastas in Nritya, but we also looked at their uses in Abhinaya, in narration or in expression of words, concepts, stories, as the case may be. Okay, so let's try and do that for a few more set of Hastas maybe. Let's start from the Tamarachuda itself, right? This is a new Hasta today that we have learned. Clearly very evident that we can use this. Where do we use this in Nritya? Okay, with some directionality. We also use it as 1, 2, 3, 4. Walks of stuff. So Tamarachuda is very commonly used in a lot of movements like this with walks. But let me ask you, how can we use it in Abhinaya? Any ideas? So I'm going to ask interesting possibilities for Hastas in the chat stream as we went along. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that as well. Let's explore the one that we're talking about. What is the most likely thing that this looks like?
Bird.
The bird, absolutely, right? So that becomes a thing that we can show. It doesn't matter. See, the beautiful thing about Bharatanatyam once again is I know that all of us are used to being taught our mini yogas, right? The variations, the possibilities of hastas. But we have to always remember that somebody has sat down and imagined these possibilities, right? These are not mathematical combinations. It's not 1 + 1 is 2. Not at all. It is coming out of the creativity and the imagination of those who wrote the texts and left it for us as well. So it is not always necessary that we have to learn the shlokams first for us to know, okay, these are the variations. It gives us a direction. It gives us a space to open out our possibilities, expand our possibilities. But that doesn't mean we cannot imagine what we can do with this hasta on our own, right? So definitely bird. And in how many ways can we show the bird? We can do it in so many beautiful ways, right? So one thing is this already looks like a bird with a long tail, right? If I do it with a roller hasta like this, then I can do it as using the hasta itself to represent the face of the bird. Using my point, right? So it will be at each other. Another hasta that we use, which is interesting, is using it in combination with the Alapadma hasta. Okay, so I don't know if this, let me show it to you in all angles. So when you use this with by kind of a shaking Alapadma hasta behind, it also looks like another bird. Oh, I'm not sure what is the name of this bird in English, but you've seen those plump birds with those very fluffy, colorful feathers at the back. So this is also a way to show. So different kinds of birds, and it's really it's limitless, right? The possibilities that you can do with it. So that is Tamarakuda. How about we take some other variations of hasta? So let us, for instance, let's take Shikara hasta, because this is a hasta that we all use while doing our namaskara, right? So it's a hasta that we are familiar with.
Like you can ask why? Why?
Show it properly. Show it to me properly. Don't hold it down. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So asking questions, right? What happened? Where are you going? What is this behavior? Right? Any question can be asked with Shikara, because we all of us know we do that in normal life also, right? Say, what is this? This is a common thing that we do. Yes, nice. What else?
We can show a bow and arrow. We can use it as a bow.
Yes, a bow and an arrow. So I have to do it in combination with this for people to understand that I am using an arrow with the string of the bow. Okay, very nice. Then anything else?
You can show this Shivalinga.
Absolutely. So we use it to show Shiva in his linga. Shiva linga was very nice. Okay, so I'm seeing some comments. I think for the Tamarachuda, where people are saying we can show a parrot or a peacock, of course, which is what we've shown, right? This is something that looks like a parrot. For a peacock, we may not be able to represent the peacock as such as the bird, because it can be only the face and the beak of the bird, right? But we have to use possibly another hasta, because the feather is the distinguishing feature of the peacock. So that's something, if we want to specify to the audience that it is a peacock, we may want to use this in combination with this, or sometimes also we do it like this, okay? But this is like just an improvisation on what we do, right? Again, but it's the feather that denotes a peacock much more than the face, isn't it? So we might have better ways of showing the peacock. And someone says, Sandhya Jayan says, Shikara, we can show male figure. Of course, that's very, very right. So we use this to show a man, okay? And similarly, usually Similarly, the Mrigashirsha is used to show the woman. Okay, so this is the man and the woman. So that definitely is a way of indicating any man. Very nice. Lovely. Yeah, anything else, Bharati, for Sikar Hasta?
Yeah, you can show the bell first. Bell.
Very nice. So you use it like this for to show the bell that is used in a temple, or is used to call somebody, like it could be the bell that they have in a school, right? Anything. Yeah, absolutely. Very nice. There is a very nice comment from Sonika who says Bharatanatyam or dance or art in general also calls for the fact that it is not a science class. It is not what I say, what you understand. There is one-to-one correlation between the two. There is always scope for imagination. So we're all it's almost like we're all going into the same fantasy world, right? We're all going into the same Disneyland. But the way our imagination runs wild within those particular things that we know is true. So if I am telling you a story, for instance, or let's say if I'm showing you this and I'm saying, oh, look at that bird, okay? All of us know it. We're talking about the bird. That is the level of commonality. But I'm saying, look at that bird. Now you have the space to imagine that bird is any particular specific bird that you want or that you have in mind. You might be reminded, there might be resonance with experiences you've had of listening to birds sing or anything like that, right? That's an example, but that's the very beauty of art, the fact that there is a communication, a conversation going on between the performer and the audience, and the better the artist is, the better the performer is, they are able to pull in the audience with allowing them enough space for their own imagination to unravel. And I think that's why the experience of sitting in an auditorium and watching a dance performance, a theater performance, and listening to a music performance is so exhilarating, because we come out having inhabited so many multiple different worlds within that small time, right? So thank you very much for that. I think that's very, very a very nice thought. Yeah, I think that's very. I don't see anything else immediately. So yes, Shikhara. So we've we covered about 4 possibilities for Shikhara, right? Why don't we take another Hasta? What shall we take next? How about something slightly different? Let's do Kattari. Okay. So now, first of all, here. This Hasta that we use like this, with not like this, okay? There's a small difference. It's not the way we show, but we cross both our fingers like that. Okay? So it actually looks like a scissor. If you were showing the scissors with your hand, that's the Hasta here. And it is also, the word also comes from that, Kattari. Kattari. Okay? This Hasta, what can we do with this, Raghavi? What all can we show?
Scissors is the best thing. Yeah, then we can show eyes.
Nice. That's interesting, because what we're doing is we are using a Hasta which looks like a scissors actually, but we are using it very nicely to show the shape of the eye, right? And definition of the eye. Very nice, right?
Then you can show, like, one thing is different from the other, you can show this.
Yes. You need to show your hand slightly higher, because right now it's too lower down. Yeah. So this is a very interesting one. To show something that is different, not the same as, or another one, right? When there is this concept of another, someone else, not this, we use this movement. It's the movement of the Hasta. Okay. So the Kattari itself doesn't show all of these things. But when you use the Kattari like this, okay, you are saying it's not this, it's the other. Or it's not the same as this, it's different. Okay. Or another one, the other person, right? Anything to denote something like that. But now we see that it's intrinsically tied in with how you use the Hasta. You cannot tell somebody, Kartari Mukha shows difference, another one. No. Right? So like how we've seen with almost every Hasta, if we were using Anapadma like this, it is beautiful. Like this, it is joy. So the way you utilize the Hasta creates the different meanings and the connotation. Very important thing to understand, which gives us one more layer in dance as compared to any other language. Right? In a language, if I told you apple, apple means an apple. Right? It means that fruit, and it doesn't matter in what tone I tell you apple, it still means that one object, that one fruit that we all remember. But here, we are starting from the initial set of similar to the sounds, right? This is a way of using the hand. But from here, the way I move that hand, the way I place it, the way I use it, can create the different connotations out of the Hasta itself. So the Hasta in itself doesn't mean different things. How you use the Hasta along with your expression creates those variation. So that's a very interesting one. Another one. Then what?
You can show a plant or a creeper.
Very nice. A creeper, particularly a creeper, not just a plant, but because why? Because the sense of this, right? If I use it like this, right? If I use it in a rotating sense, right? And I do that, right? That it has a very we're not showing something that is strong and sturdy, right? We're showing something that is very delicate. That it has the capacity to show something delicate. So a creeper, or it can also be shown like this, something that grows not straight, right? But there is a twining, delicate aspect. Very nice. Good.
You can also show, like dye.
Dye. So once again, ask for expression for it to make sense to it, right? Very nice. I'm just checking to see. Nice. So for Kattari Mukha, more than one person, Sandhya and Prarthana, have said you can show hair. Of course, that's very true, right? We use the Kattari Mukha to show the could be hair like this. We also use it to show curly hair.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay, very nice. And also to show leaf. How do we show leaf with the Kattari alone? I'm not very sure of that right now. I think of that. You can show parts of the plant, yes. It's possible that I'm missing a existent Vinyoga of Kattari Mukha, but please do share with me how we can do it with Kattari. That would be very nice. Someone has said to show anger. Yes. Dhriti has said to show anger. Again, it depends maybe how we are using it to show anger. So it may not be anger generically, but normally we tend to use it when you're showing Shiva's third eye, right? We use it to show his eye as well. So when he opens his third eye and he burns you down with that. So it is used to show the fire or that fierceness emerging from his third eye. So in that sense, anger, yes. And Rashmi says a flying bird with Kattari Mukha. How do we show a bird with Kattari Mukha? Rashmi, can you share with us what you're thinking exactly? Because that's a very interesting idea, but I don't know how. Sanjay says to show lightning. Very, very interesting one also. Yes, we use it so because it's a hasta which allows you to actually show that shape of the lightning and that. Also to show the speed, right? That conversion of the hasta can create the speed at which the lightning strikes something, and to show someone is falling as well. So anything to show dropping of something, right? Thing or some person, anything. So once again, we're using this transition, right? Or hasta from here to there to show something has dropped. It has fallen, right? It is not its original place. Very, very interesting ideas coming up over there. Lovely. And why don't we move on to another Hasta? I think we've done a lot with Kathmandu actually. What else shall we do? Suchi. Shall we try Suchi? Which is a seemingly very, very simple one. Okay. So this Hasta of the way we show one, the way we show the number one, is the Hasta which we call Suchi. Okay. Suchi, I think the word means needle, pointed, right? Something like that. Anything that is pointed. Because do you remember in our Pada Veda, we had the word Suchi Pada. What does Suchi Pada mean? Pointed foot, right? Something that is pointed to its very tip, something that is tapering. That's what the word means. And therefore we use this Suchi. So what can we do with Suchi?
Suchi, we can show one.
Why do you think that will denote God?
If face is upward, right? So.
Yes. So what you do is what is it that you're doing? You're pointing from your heart, okay, to there, right? You're creating a connection between this and that. Just pointing to the sky, because God is not in the sky. He's not sitting above you. He or she is not sitting above you, right? So we wouldn't just use it as a pointing mechanism, but to make a connection between what is you and what is beyond you, what is above or larger than you. Okay, so in that sense, what
you can show some place when it is combined with Alapadma. You can show things.
Combined with Alapadma, yes, we use this Hasta to show a city, that denoting a city, and we are pointing at this. This is a very stylized thing that we use in Bharatanatyam, definitely. But pointing of any kind. Yeah. It can be pointing to something that is on the floor. What is that? Right? Or look at that person going, right? Or look how tall this thing is. Anything. So pointing towards anything, bringing attention to something. Very nice. Anything else?
Yeah, to scold, like to scold or yeah.
To scold.
Yeah.
Yeah. How dare you do this? Don't you dare do it again. Don't you do this? Right? Yeah. To reprimand somebody. So that's a very common thing that we use in our daily lives, for sure. There.
To show that, something very thin, like so thin.
Yes. So if you're showing something that has become very thin and weak and frail, once again, only when done with the expression that is being done. On its own, we cannot do this, and imagine that this shows something that is curvy, but when done with that expression, it shows something that has become very weak and become very frail or thin. Right? You can show the world. Rotation is an indication. So this is also a stylized Hasta in the sense that, of course, none of us show the earth like this. If you ask a child to show the earth, they're not going to do this. But why do we use it? Because of the constant rotation. It never stops, right? It is a constant rotation. So we usually use this to show the world, the universe, as such. That's the case. Some very nice thing from Pratna to show the sun, to show wondering, beating an instrument, staying quiet, of course. So, quiet.
Surprise.
Wonder, right? And what was the other thing? Beating an instrument. Yes, we usually use this to show. We never beat the instrument. So if we are actually showing us playing the instrument, we have to hold something, right? Hold the stakes or play the drums. But this is usually used to show those percussion instruments that are being bent. So to show that there is sound that is emanating. Very, very nice. To show the chakra, of course, Anvesha says to show the chakra which is held in the hand of Vishnu. Definitely, yes. To show the single tusk of Lord Ganesha, like that. We can definitely use this Suchi to show the cusp of Ganesha, but there are so many other Hasta variations also that can be used for the cusp, where we either use Shikhara or we use this also, right? So that you have a pointedness in both sides as well. But Suchi is definitely possible to think. Of course, and to listen. That's a nice one as well, right? When you direct the attention to sound that is coming to your ears, of course. Very nice, very interesting things coming. Good. So I think that's lovely. We've covered quite a few Hastas and a lot of variations today, giving us a sense of how we continue to utilize Hasta. Quickly go through these Hastas, okay, that we have done today, and see how they find use in Nritya. Shall we do that? Let's do one sample each for each of that. I'm going to maybe we can do it together. So Shikara Hasta, okay, we can use it in so many different possibilities for us. So I'm going to Bhargavi and me are going to do some possibilities together for you. Okay, so of course you all notice that but we use the Shikara in many possibilities usually that are much more grounded, that have jumps. Okay, so for instance, one very nice answer that we do is this. Say now. Say now. Say now. Say now. Okay, so that with the movement of this very nice stretch of Shukta, we use it in kicking parallels like this. Kicks, we jump, when Shikara, circular movements like this, but actually plenty of Nritya Hastas that we use with Shikara as such. What about Kartari Mukha? Bhargavi, will you show us something with Kartari Mukha? What do we normally use? We don't do too many adavas with Kartari Mukha. Say, 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 yeah. So we use Kartari to do movements that are with jumps, using the, once again when you notice, there is a flavor that is created in each Hasta. What the Hasta does for us is how we employ the thing in the situation of Nritya. Okay. So, do we have any more questions, Alankita, at this point? Because I think we have just about 5 minutes, right? So, if we have any questions particularly, maybe it's a good moment.
No, there are no questions, ma'am, right now. I just posted.
Yeah, I think there was just one question that I did not answer earlier, which was how to improve expression and how to fully express. So this, of course, is a very important question in Bharatanatyam, but it's also a complex one in the sense that this is like asking me how to improve dance, right? There are so many things that we have to do to improve expression. But in a very basic way, what I'm getting an echo from somewhere. Sorry, I hope that's not sure where it's coming from. To fully express, in order to fully express or to make your expressions more natural, one thing you can remember is that the expression is never initiated from your face or from the muscles of your face, but it is initiated from what you think. Okay, so do this. I'm very upset with you, right? So there is a thought process that goes behind what it is that you're trying to express, and our eyes are made in such a way that your thoughts will reflect through the eyes. Your thought will reflect through your muscles, right? In the same way that if I ask you to smile, Okay, there's a difference between an artificial muscular smile where I do this, and when I'm smiling because I'm greeting somebody, right? I'm greeting you when I say hello. I smile at you because I am greeting you, or I'm happy at a news that I've heard. The inside, and that is a very simple thing. Again, it is not something that's very conceptually. It is not a very heavy idea at all. You know, it's not about, oh, you need to find your emotion from somewhere. No, all of us know what anger feels like, what sadness feels like, what happiness feels like, and you have to be able to find a reflection of that and think about that anger, think about that sadness, so that your face can express it automatically. Okay, without initiating it from the body or from the musculature of the face, because that is when it lands up either looking artificial or looking exaggerated, or sometimes maybe not communicating what you are trying to say. So I hope that's helped. And one more question: why is Chandrakala used to show the moon? Why not? To me, this creates the shape of the crescent moon. That is how I understand Chandrakala, right? So we also have Ardha Chandra, right? So this is the half moon, Ardha is half, so Ardha Chandra, and this is the, at least the way, that's how I have always understood it. I can find out, but it gives me the shape of the crescent moon, so, which is the reason why I would use it to show the moon. So, yeah. Why not is always the question. Time to finish?
Yes, ma'am. It's almost the time.
To say goodbye today to all of you. It was again really wonderful to spend this morning with you. Amazing to see all of you participate, and I really welcome any more comments, any things that you'd like to learn or see would always be welcome, so that we can design our next few days accordingly. And I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Bhargavi. It was a very interactive session, ma'am. Thank you so much. And delegates, do join us for the afternoon session at 2 p.m. and evening session at 6 p.m. Thank you.